Hello, pproteus here, back for round number 5 of the Pauper Challenge. I'm now at 3-1 in the top 16. Pretty exciting. Playing against Codwag, who is, well, he was on Izzet last week, but remains to be seen about this week. His hand obviously doesn't do very much, so I got a mulligan that. This hand is one of those, I have to keep it hands where I don't want to keep mulliganing because I need enough cards to do things. But if I don't hit a second land drop, this hand doesn't do very much. So I will keep. Pproteus Emissary, that's the card I was thinking about. So I could keep it. There's big upside in keeping it. But there's also the downside that if I don't find a land, I don't get it. I think I'm going to put it on the bottom. I can't afford to fall behind. I have these two cards in my hand, which neither of them do a whole lot with this combination of threats. Like, maybe I can sack the Eldrazi spawn from the Nest Invader, and then use that to turn on Morbid, and then make my Riverbow huge and attack through his islands. But that's too complicated. Alright, yeah, opponent is on Izzet. Preordained went top. I do Nest Invader, boo. This is not a great hand. I'm glad I shipped the Burning Tree Emissary because that gamble would not have paid off. Now I was holding up Counterspell. Alright, so I don't have anything, but I guess I can afford to not do anything. If he casts a spell stutter end of turn, I might cast Hunger in response. Actually, I think I will. Because I'm behind. Now he probably has a second spell stutter or a ninja, one or the other. Ninja's not that bad. I hope I will draw a land. A land. He casts Gush. Okay. So I will remember he has an island in his hand. There's a Miscreant. Miscreant's fine. I need a land here. Discards Ninja of the Deep Hours. Ninja is not great in this matchup because I'm pretty good at blocking it, especially now that I have a 3-3. 3-3s are pretty good at blocking it. So Pit Skulk is not a land, but at least it's relevant here. I probably shouldn't auto yield because my opponent may avoid playing a Lightning Bolt if he thinks I have mutagenic growth. Opponent gets to attack for 1. How about a land now? I would like a land. No, something. Eh. At least it does something. I'm attacking for 5. My clock is faster than my opponent's clock. Opponent elects to trade. I'm happy about that. For a 1-land hand, this is competing. My opponent may not have a very good hand given that he gushed on turn 3. There's an Evolving Wilds. I think he just didn't have any more lands, and that's why he gushed. because that cost him a lot of mana. Okay, so he has a spell stutter in his hand. I know about it 100%. There's that card. I was waiting for that one. I kind of want to just walk Nest Invader into the forest because I have to attack. And then I have to cast something. Okay, let's do that. That's great for me. I mean, maybe he's going to go fetch a bolt and kill the Nettle Sentinel, but I can't realistically play around that. If this were a Groundswell, I would have cast it there for sure, because then I get to Hunger here. I'm going to Nest Invader. He can counterspell, but he can't spell stutter. I just have to get the 2-drop out of my hand. Yeah, he doesn't have counterspell, it looks like. Evolving Wilds for Snow-Covered Mountain, untap, and then kill my guys. And again, I have 6 and I shouldn't, because I'm trying to bluff Mutagenic Growth. Yeah, there's Lightning Bolt. Okay. Okay, Miscreant is not that bad. I'm going to cast Nest Invader here. If he spell stutters, then I Hunger, and my Nest Invader will be hard to kill. No spell stutter. In that case, I'm not going to let him use his mana effectively. I have to use my mana effectively. I can't have multiple 2-drops in my hand and cast none of them. But I can totally let my opponent leave half of his mana open and do nothing with it. Cycles Ash Barrens, that's fine. He finds a mountain. So I could Vines here, put in the same situation as last turn, except I'm going to get to untap, so it sounds pretty great to me. He could have another bolt. He could just spell stutter this. But I like him tapping out on his turn. He left that mountain untapped, and I imagine he fetched the mountain for a reason. That is pretty annoying. I'm not going to walk my Hunger of the Howlpack into a Lightning Bolt. Oh, I did it again. I should not be auto-yielding. I'm trying to bluff Mutagenic Growth. Ooh, well, I do like that. He can't counter it, so I'm just going to see if he double blocks here. Oh, man. I wish I had another pump spell. And then I use my pump spell, he bolts, and then I Hunger and blow him out. But I can't do that. I think I have to do nothing. I could consider playing River Boa with oh, yeah. There's so many things to think about here. So, option 1, Burning Tree Emissary, Hunger of the Howlpack, target Eldrazi spawn. Scarring Pixhawk isn't it's not very interesting anymore as a 1/1. Really want to have 2 power so it can attack past an Augur, attack past random fairies. So option 1 is Burning Tree Emissary, Hunger on the Eldrazi spawn. Option 2 is sack the Eldrazi spawn, play Riverboa, leaving a mana open. There's a decent chance that I just win if I do that, whereas Burning Tree Hunger, he bolts the Eldrazi spawn response, untaps and plays an Augur, and I'm in trouble. So I like this option. I guess if he has daze here, he dazes and then bolts me. Another reason why it's important to sell that I do have mutagenic growth. Okay, here's the Augur. Yeah, so I'm glad I didn't choose the other option. The other option does not look good here. There's a lightning bolt. So he may just go bolt, I regenerate, bolt again. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Alright, you got me. You got me. I want to play around Scred. Or, not Scred, around Daze. Because I have been playing it around it all game. Well, not all game, but ever since I got the second land. So I want to keep playing around it. These Izzet decks sometimes just have one of Daze. He only has 2 cards left. Man. I'm going to attack because I don't think he has Electric Fury or Get Shot. And at some point I am going to want to attack and I'm actually going to have something. And I don't want him to see me as doing something different that particular turn. So I'm just going to do this every turn unless he does something else. I guess he could flash in a Spell Stutter. He could play land and play a Ledgewalker. Ledgewalker's not the best. It just trades for Spell Stutter. But he's got to counter this if he, yeah. Or I guess it doesn't really trade for Spell Stutter. Okay, doing okay here. I didn't want to see that. I like Rancor. Problem is, he might have Bolt. I think I can't play around Bolt anymore. Okay. That's not that bad. I think I'm going to cast Hunger now. Guess he's demonstrated that he doesn't have Bolt. He may Spell Stutter. Okay, he didn't have Bolt, but he's going to look for one. Okay, the Brainstorm lets him flip the Delver, almost certainly. He didn't flip it. Does he have a Ninja? Okay, he's got a Ninja. Or, I guess he doesn't have a Ninja either. I have no idea what he has then. Does he have a Spell Stutter? Bolt? Do something. I'm going to play out my hand. Okay, that's fine. Pit Skulk. Alright, Pit Skulk resolved. Yes. So there's the third card he saw with the Brainstorm. He had Spell Stutter, Island, Vines of Vastwood. That card might be Spell Stutter. It probably isn't. It's probably another land. If he had bolts, he would have just cast it there, right? Or maybe not. Maybe he wouldn't have. Like, this is pretty powerful. And so, I can afford to play around things. It could be another Spell Stutter. That's the other thing he could reasonably have. No, he can't have it because he would have put it on top and then would have had it in his hand and he would have countered the Pit Skulk. But I'm just very not afraid. This card makes me feel safe. Okay, he has Scred. Alright. Traded for Scred. And he concedes. Alright, so he didn't have something. I should have just cast it the previous turn. I was just playing scared. I'm bringing in Scattershot Archers and Viridian Longbow. I have the option to bring in an Elephant Guide, bring in an Epic Confrontation. I kind of like Elephant Guide, so after sideboard, in this matchup, I worry about Swirling Sandstorm, Electrickery. And also, I take into account that his deck is full of 1/1 flyers. So I'm going to side out these cards, for sure. Anything that's bad against 1/1 flyers, I side in things that are good against 1/1 flyers. This card is pretty good against Swirling Sandstorm. That's the reason I want it. Ledgewalker is not great against 1/1 flyers, so I want to take it out. But in some scenarios, just you put an Elephant Gun on it, put a Hunger on it, it's just nuts. Because they can't interact with it once it's resolved, except by blocking. I think I'm going to side it out. I think I'm going to side this in. I'm going to side out some Groundswells, because Groundswell is not great when this matchup encourages me to not cast my pump spells. And I'll just side out a Young Wolf, because Young Wolf does not attack very well through Augur of Bolas. So I don't need 4 of them. He's not playing Edicts or anything. It is good against Swirling Sandstorm. So maybe I should just take out another Groundswell, but I kind of like having pump spells. It just green dispels. And Elephant Guide is fun, so I'm gonna have that. So Izzet Delver is a pretty good matchup. I think it's not great. I think it's maybe 60-65% in my favor. Because Stompy is so prominent in this metagame, there are no great matchups. But most matchups are okay at the worst. And so this matchup, I always feel good after sideboarding because I get to bring in my archers, and they kind of ruin somebody's day if they just have a hand, a draw that's full of spell stutters. I just get to ruin everything. So this hand, yeah, this is pretty bad. Green Ranger is basically a land, so this is a 5-land hand. It doesn't have a 2-power 1-drop, it doesn't have Burns Emissary. These two cards are both very good. I mean, this guy is too. Yeah, I can't keep that. Oh, okay. I like this. I like it even though I don't have a second land. But as I demonstrated last game, Stompy can win without a second land. Turn 1, Scattershot Archer, because I'm hoping my opponent has a handful of fairies and just auto-loses. Land? Oh yeah, I got a land. So I don't have pump spells. It's slightly awkward having the Rancor and the Pit Skulk, because I can't actually cast the things in the order that I want to. I'm going to start with Nettle Sentinel. At the very least, he can't spell stutter me. Counterspell. Alright, so if he's going to do that, then I attack the Archer and turn on the Pit Skulk. I want to play this over the Rancor because it's just hard to turn on this guy when I'm on the draw sometimes, and I had to take my advantage where I get it. Now he casts Lightning Bolt, but he can't afford to cast it on the Scattershot Archer. Rancor. He can counterspell it, but I don't think he wants to do that. And Spell Stutter does nothing. I'm hoping all of the cards are Spell Stutter, because I've basically won the game if that's the case. He's Gushing. Gushing this early in the game is great for me, because it means that he's saying, I'm not going to cast Swirling Sandstorm on turn 4, and that's what I'm afraid of. So I guess we're good. I'm going to drain this mana and attack. Take 5. Pretty good turn 3, eh? Opponent now is down to 1 land. He could have Bolt. He could just Bolt me. He has an island in his hand remaining. Awkward. Oh man, this is super awkward. I have to actually run the Pit Skulk into Spell Stutter. I feel like my opponent does have Spell Stutter, so I'm not going to cast. I'm not going to cast the Pit Skulk here. I'm going to cast Riverboa because I don't think my opponent has removal. And like, if he had it, you can't just leave me with a 5/2 on the board. So I'm just going to play my 2/1 unblockable. Down comes Spell Stutter. All right. So he gets a little bit of an advantage here because I don't want to use the Scattershot Archer. I want to attack with it. But what's he going to do? He still has an island in his hand. He can't afford to Delver me, or Ninja me rather. He could flash down a second Spell Stutter and double block. I'm just going to attack with everything. He's going to have to block something. That's a very strange block. What does he have? Does he have Electricity plus like untap Swirling Sandstorm? I'm going to assume that he has that and play around it by doing nothing. Because if he can't remove the Riverboa, he's dead. And I don't see how he's going to remove the Riverboa unless he's playing Vapor Snag. Alright, yeah, so that was easy. I'm now 4-1. Sweet. I'm excited to be 4-1 in this challenge. So minor note, Magic Online is confusing sometimes. There is a break in the number of rounds that a challenge will take. If there are 64 or fewer players, it is 6 rounds. If there are more than that, then there are 7 rounds. It says that there are 65 players, but these 2 players aren't, they're not really players. They're 2 players. I'm not sure whether this is going to be recording properly, but there are 2 players who have a record of 0-0. They don't seem to have played any games. They're just some kind of bug. So I don't know whether there's going to be a 7th round or not. And that is unfortunate. I wish I knew looking at this.